told you that joke, right? That was from my buddy.
I'll do it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Is this rated PG or 13? Can I say the joke?
No, you can't say the joke.
All right.
All right. We'll see. We'll gauge the temperature of the audience.
Send it in, Jerome. Who are we?
All right. Hey, welcome to a podcast again for Prophets Over Parrots. We're seeking out truth and knowledge. And we wanted to share a topic today. It's funny, we're sitting in the office and...
This is the tip number 2, by the way. This is take number 2.
This is take number 2. We didn't record it the first time. Make sure we actually are recording this time.
Oh,
we are.
yeah,
Red light.
Thank you.
So I got this calendar note thing, and Brandon, of course, is like, "What you got over there?" You know, he's saying suspect.
What is that, a book? You ever read that before?
Which I don't do that either. Audible, thank you. But anyway, just to give a quick plug, this thing is called the Action Day Planner. This is the undated one. I don't like dates because then I feel like I end up, not filling out pages, and I feel like it's a waste. Anyways, I'm trying to use it as a way to communicate what's in my brain and get on the same page with my wife. And Brandon's like, "Why don't you do it with your kids too?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would I do it with my kids? Anyways, that spawned a good conversation, and I thought, before we even get to that, why don't we record this and make it into a podcast? This is stuff that people need to hear. Here's knowledge and here's truth that you need to hear that'll benefit your life. I mean, I don't know about you, Brandon, but when I was 25, I was a pretty frustrated dude. And I'll tell you why. Because somebody gave me some information, right? There was a certain amount of information that I was getting from a mentor. And for the longest time, I remember sitting there and I would be so frustrated thinking, why didn't anybody tell me this before? Like, why wasn't this taught at school? Why didn't anybody tell me this at 18 when I graduated? Like, what in the world? Anyways.
Information hoarders.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't ready for it,
Yeah.
because we're not victims anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, we weren't ready for it.
Yeah,
so.
victors.
Anyways, we started the convo, and I was like, let's record this. Let's make this into a podcast. This is going to be very beneficial to you guys, encouraging, I hope. And again, my point out of all these podcasts for all of us is become a prophet. That means you have the knowledge, you have the truth, you have a deep conviction, and you execute on it. A parrot is the opposite. They may have a little bit of information. It's those people that you got. It's that guy. He has a little bit of information. He wants to argue about something. He never executes on it. And he just parrots what somebody else says. We ain't about that life. We'll respect. I think there's a lot of respect in a person that has a deep conviction, whether I agree with it or not, and executes on it.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of respect and honor in that. And so that's what we're about.
So we were talking about, before we jumped on the podcast, you pulled this thing up and I said, "What do you got there?" And you said,
It's a planner. It's a calendar.
I said, what are you going to do with that? Come on now. And you said,
I'm going to try to fill it out and get on the same page with my wife.
and that's what you said. You said, "Hey, look, this is a big deal for Lupe. This is one of her strong points.
Yep.
We're trying to work through being better at communicating, because you've got your entire plan, your day-to-day, and everything inside your big strategic head.
That's right.
And it frustrates her as your wife. It frustrates me as your partner.
Yep.
It frustrates, people, whoever.
Yeah, everybody. Honestly, it's the story of my life. Yeah.
And so I said, "Okay, you guys gonna get there tonight? What's your plan?" So we started talking about, hey, tonight before we go to bed. I said, "Okay, what does your afternoon look like at the house?" I mean, I haven't been over your house after 6 p.m. in probably a year or two.
That's because
we
we
used to
live in Panama City.
live over there. And so you said,
we're either cooking, we're eating dinner, kids are doing homework, we're helping them as much as we can. We don't know how to do their math anymore.
And I made the comment. I said, "Well, why don't you include the kids? Because you got Isaiah. How old's he?
He's 14.
You got Isaiah, and then
Eliana. Yep.
How old is she?
She's 13.
14, 13, and Joshua?
There's 11.
14, 13, 11. They're at a point now where they're not only watching closely, but
They've been doing that.
I think
Yeah.
your kids are super well behaved, by the way. Everywhere we go, it's my mom's like, "Gosh, Daddy's kids are just."
Yeah, it's because we beat them.
But
It's not true.
yeah,
We
man,
did discipline them.
Yeah, you guys. So, and just so you know, Deanna and I, with our 19-month-old, we watch you guys closely, and so is Lee.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah. So, And so I said, hey, why don't you guys, why don't you do it with the kids? Why don't you get them involved? And said, I don't know. I said, dude, what better way than to call them in? Yeah, we don't have time. Dude, set aside 10 minutes, take the time, right? And understand that if they see this at 14, 13, and 11 or whatever, dude, you're getting them way ahead of the game. Because the crap they're learning in school right now is an absolute waste of time. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's not going to help them set goals and
No.
Yeah, which is why we were so frustrated in our
fucking parallelograms and fucking PIMDOS.
Yep.
So anyway, do that. Why don't you try it tonight?
Yeah.
Set aside 10 minutes, include the kids, and let them watch, and you guys model it like you've always done for me, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and I am going to do that, and thank you for sharing that. And it's a good thing about community. So Brandon was sharing a story. He started to share a story, and I thought, this would be great for people to hear. Now, I think one of the things you're going to hear often is not just our stories, but everybody that we have on. I think your story is one of the most powerful things. I mean, it's irrefutable.
It's your truth.
Yep. So
it's your reality.
So you were sharing, you were in college, and you were probably in your 5th year.
Yeah, on the first take, I was explaining. I can vividly remember reading the last book that I had read up until my 5th year of college, 4th or 5th year, was something in 6th or 7th grade. It was like, some book you read, you got these points. But anyway, can't really remember taking in any information on my own without being forced to do so up until my senior year of college. And I had a professor that cared enough, Dr. Walton. She said, hey, I get it, big guy. You're going to play in the big leagues and all this stuff.
Because you had a plan. What was your plan?
I got a plan, man. I'm going to the show.
Yep.
I'm going to the show, man. I'm going to be a number 4 or 5 starter in rotation. I'm going to be a 6'1" lefty, Jamie Moyer, throw change-ups, work backwards. Have about a 4, 4.5 ERA, maybe even a 5, 5.5.
You almost got there though.
Control. That was a long ways away.
Well, think about it. So before you get further into your story, could this tool, right, in your bag, could this have made a difference had you had it earlier on?
I don't know if it would have made all the difference. It would have made a difference.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
How so? Just emotionally, you think?
Look,
emotional intelligence.
I'm sold. Oh yeah, I'm sold on. What could have helped me was a father figure that cared enough to punch me in the face and go, "You're an arrogant prick."
Sure.
Stop being a dick to everyone you meet. Stop thinking you're better than you are. Sure. That would have helped a lot.
Well, yeah, I did that for you at 25, I think. How old were you?
28, 27, 28.
Yeah, funny story. We'll share that later.
That'd be another one.
I outlifted a 7 Special Forces guy. Anyways, keep going.
And so she says, hey, got it. Let's do this. I'm going to set you up. We'll do a little goal setting. We're going to do a little reading. And so we busted open a couple books. And one of them was Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great book.
Super dry, but I made my way through it.
Sure.
So that was part of the curriculum. And then The Secret by Rhonda Burns. And what I found was I'm sitting in a biology class, complete waste of my time. And I'm starting to read it. And I thought, man, if any of this crap's true, let's give it a shot. Because I'm kind of a self-help guy anyway, and I want to make the best of everything. And so I remember I had the card. It was a bookmark. It was a little bookmark card. And I said, fuck it. Here we go. Let's give it a shot. So I start writing some stuff down. Some very smart goals, as we call them. Measurable, attainable, all that stuff. Have a great senior season. And it was almost scary. I wrote down in the fall which round I would get drafted in, the number of wins I would have this season, the fact that I would be an All-American left-handed pitcher, all these sorts of stats that were either spot on or damn close. And so for me, when my name came across the draft, screen, and it said, hey, San Francisco draft left-handed pitcher, and I'm a guy that throws 84, 85 miles an hour, I thought, dude, done. I can do anything. Sure. I can do anything on the planet now. So I left where I was, went to play pro ball. But the big takeaway was, it was at that point, and so I went back for the following season, but it was at that point I said, man, reading and writing, I want to be an intellect. I want to know. What I don't want to be is that ignorant guy that speaks on things and doesn't really know what the hell he's talking about. Sure. The loudest mouth in the room, but everybody looks at it and goes, that guy's really dumb.
You don't want to be a prophet. You don't want to be a parrot.
Right. And so that's kind of how that played out. And then, you know, obviously joined the Army. And ever since then, one of the things that I'm hell bent on is self-improvement, education, doing the research, going and applying it, surrounding yourself with a team that cares for you and cares enough to say, hey, that's dumb, don't do that. Or
how did you arrive at that decision point? And how did planning out and writing down goals and all that play into, okay, I'm done in the minor leagues, I'm shifting over to, you know.
I had it mapped out in my head.
Gotcha.
I knew, I said, if I can't make it to the big leagues, I gave it everything I had.
Mhm.
No big deal, I'm going to go do the next hardest thing. So I was either going to be a Navy SEAL
Mhm.
or I was going to go be a Green Beret.
Gotcha.
And so I chose the SF route, did it, and then, like I was telling you before I joined, one of the things I did was I took the time to write out, type up why I must be Special Forces.
Right.
And I had it as a one-sheeter, had probably 12, 15 bullet points.
Mhm.
It was all my reminders, and I hung it, you know, I taped it up in my locker in basic. So when 3 a.m. rolled around, or we hadn't slept in a couple days, that was my reminder. When I got to the Q course, that was my reminder. This is why I have to do it.
Yeah.
So for me, the
So-
importance of writing and scribing and setting those
Yeah.
goals and manifestation, very real.
Okay, good, because that's what I was going to say. So, you know, for the people that are listening, some people may hear that and go, that's hokey, right?
It is.
But how did it help you? You know, opening up your locker and seeing that sheet there, I mean, that was the extra push, that was the extra edge. It just reminded you of what you had made a decision of.
It's a great reminder. And think about all the things that have to take place between an idea that comes in your head. You've got to identify it,
Mhm.
a hope, a dream. Then you've got to have a conversation about it. Then you've got to speak, write, and act it out into reality. That's how our whole world is manifested.
Sure.
I think it starts with writing.
Absolutely.
I think it starts with writing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. So then let's talk about that a little bit, about writing.
Mhm.
The term you use is scribing, right? So obviously, you know, we're on this journal tip, you know, where I'm trying to pre-plan out my day, my next few days, you know, give my wife a lot of information, really so she can help me. That's a big part of this is my wife wants to be included in everything that we do, right? And oftentimes I'm just not good at passing on the information unless I'm excited about it and I'm, you know, in the moment sharing it with somebody and then she hears it, you know, eavesdropping and she gets butthurt because she's like, why didn't you share that with me? Honestly, I didn't even think about it. You know, somebody just happened to ask and I shared it.
I think if you'll respect the fact that if those words end up on that paper, you've taken the time to organize and it matters enough to you. For
Sure.
sure. It matters enough to where we'll do our whiteboards.
So that would be, yeah, that's how you reconcile. So, and I'll give you, this is an interesting discussion because not only Brandon and my friend Forrest and, you know, previous employers and my wife, this is a huge area of tension,
Yeah.
right? Because, you know, I get judged as you just don't care. And it's not that I don't care. It's really difficult for me, and I wish I could explain it. It really is. I see this here, and all I see is spreadsheets, and it's very intimidating to me because I'm not good at it, right? But, you know, from your perspective, right, you think a certain way. You guys are very, you know, logical, very sequential, very checkbox.
We are now.
Yeah.
We are now. Teddy, when I pulled back into Destin,
Sure, but let's you know, let's talk. Let's open that up a little bit. It's not that hard for you to put a thought down onto paper. Would you say that's true?
now, no.
Okay, but when you okay, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, right? I don't typically put thoughts down on paper
Why?
because it literally gets stuck. If it's a high value target, it sits on the top of my brain and it'll sit there spinning until it's reconciled. So I'll literally lose sleep. I'll wake up at 3 in the morning. I've got to reconcile that. And I'm sure that's true about you.
No. I
That's
never
not-
wake up at 3 reconciling anything.
Really?
I wrote it down the night before.
Wow. See, I'm the opposite of that, right? So even if I were to write it down, maybe it's the strategic taking over going, okay, how do I reconcile that? Because even if I were to write a goal down, you know, like for example, if I were to share this has got a little spot so you can, you know, plan out.
Let me jump in.
Go ahead.
You writing it down may not necessarily be for you. Your
No doubt.
Your brain works so much faster than everybody you're around right
Yeah.
now. Just across the street, same way.
Yeah.
His whiteboard is full.
Yeah.
He scribes. It's not for him.
Gotcha.
It's for everyone around him.
Gotcha.
Nobody can keep up.
Gotcha.
I cannot keep up with you.
Which is my motive for
It's
this.
for
Right?
it's for all of us.
People always think, well, I thought we were on this tip. Well, no, I've already moved on.
Right.
We had this conversation with
No,
Milt.
same thing with Milt. Hey, I'm not going to write it down because you're going to, this is him talking. I'm not going to write it down because you frustrate me. You're asking too many questions. He will physically move you out of the way. He'll do the task and on he goes.
Yeah. He's moving too fast for you.
He's too fast. He's too damn smart. He's got too many data points. He's too wise. I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Okay. So why don't you share kind of how you do it, how it's helpful. These are things that I'm going to try to take and give it a whack, give it an attempt.
So just from a practical measure, I kind of go down in the tactical thing. Wake up in the morning, do a little scripture, do a little, we call it scribing. If you want to check out a good way to start your day, it's Savers, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Goofy guy, great message, good stuff. Even if you just pull 2 or 3 out of every morning, it's phenomenal. Follow the MF CEO, Andy Frisella, doing the 75 hard right now. It's going good. Part of that is a 45-minute workout every day, so I get a good sweat, get some endorphins. I get to watch the sunrise every day. I'm intentional about it. And so it just naturally, if I did take the time to write before the walk or the workout, I come back in and do it then. Throughout the day, I'm enacting what I put into my calendar. So if you check out my calendar, I've block timed it.
Sure.
You'll see 4 big blocks, which consist of about 5 a.m. to about 8:39, from 9 to about noon, 1 o'clock, noon 1 to about 4 or 5, and then everything from 5 p.m. to bedtime. And that's sort of how, if I can fit you in there, that's great. And there's a block that's dedicated to my one thing, right? Big on the Gary Keller stuff. Hey, my one thing right now, things I've shared with you, got a couple projects going, got the range project, pushing Takaba into the government space, working on PMP, always self-educating, taking in the podcast on the multifamily investments. It's a lot to take in, right? And so the only way that I can make something of importance in a hierarchical way and make a designated number 1 is to allocate it the most important for that day. That thing's got to get done. And so I've really got about 3 or 4 things that I'm going to do. They're going to get done. They got to get done. It's a task, right? But I know that these tasks, I've reverse engineered and said these tasks are going to lead me to this goal.
Sure.
And
And that's the big, yeah.
You got the someday goals up there.
Those are your big rocks.
Big, huge. Those
Right.
are the someday goals.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what I want to really get to is one of the reasons I'm trying to get better at this. Obviously, Brandon's an expert at this. Lupa's really good at this. It does give you freedom, right? Knowledge and truth should free you up, right? And so as you plan out your day and the next day and the week and the month, it gives you the ability to say no. One of the biggest struggles that I see, just anywhere,
Think
whether it's
about my
career,
number
business.
34.
Yeah,
My number 34 is adaptability.
that's right.
And I was in the freaking Army
That's right.
in SF where you have to be,
Super adaptable.
dude, it's in the motto, like be adaptable. Number 34 strength for me.
Yep.
Doesn't exist.
Yep.
The only way I know to get about that is to structure my day in a way that, okay, the non-negotiables are taken care of before noon.
Right.
Something comes up, okay, should be okay.
Sure.
Or something came up, I can crush it the first part of the day. God forbid it doesn't get done that day, it's okay, we'll get it done the next day.
That's right.
And so,
Which is opposite of me. I'm very adaptable, but it still doesn't. It's very freeing to be able to see. Okay, I can shift the schedule. For me, it's about shifting the schedule. It's not so much getting all these tasks done. It's about whatever the big rock is, that may change for me. So, because again, my brain's always moving so fast.
I wonder if it has to do with the fact that we're in a reactionary industry and fires come up on the regular. And
It could be.
You think that might be built into you
That
as
could
an
be.
IT guy?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's hard to get ahead.
Yeah.
New technology comes out. The cyber warfare. It's just constant. Right?
Yeah.
So it's always some new security event, some new malware that came out. I mean, it's really hard to stay ahead. So you're always in a reactive, mode. I mean, they use proactive as a, selling point, but come on, guys.
Yeah.
So
Constantly on the defense.
yeah, a lot. I mean, there is an offensive. Obviously the military does it. There's some bigger organizations that have the capital to do it, but by no means the small business is going to pay you, a bunch of money to do an offensive. But in any case, so I like that word to get to actually continue on. I'm trying to stay on the offensive. I don't like to be defensive when it comes to my personal relationships, my spirituality, whatever the case may be. I always want to be aware, and I want to be ahead of the game, right? I want to be prepared. I don't like to be reactive when it comes to Teddy's little sphere of influence. I don't like that. I like the adaptability where it's like there can be a plan A, B, C, and D, which is fine. I've got that mapped out strategy-wise in my head. And we can pick A or C or D, and that's fine with me. I don't like to have no plan. You know what I mean? I don't like to have any option. Although I can operate in there, I don't like it, right? Because I want to be able to, I see the end from a strategic perspective. I always see the end. So I'm always mapping my way back, right, to where I'm currently at.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I'm going to try, for me practically, right, before we close this out, I'm going to give my kids a couple of these. Thanks, to Brandon, this is a great idea. And Lupe and I are going to try to model this and, include them. I want my kids, actually, I got every single one of them whiteboard. Eliana's got it up with her goals. Isaiah's got it up with his goals. Joshua, he's kind of dabbles on it. But he's got, an identity reference that the Bataraos are about writing their goals down on a whiteboard. And at least, they have some reference for that. They're not going to be 25 or 26 like me.
And never having
said and I've heard about it, but nobody's ever challenged me to do it, right? And I don't get to see the result. And so for Isaiah, as he does high school and golf, Eliana for ballet, I mean, you can really see it play out in their lives. Like Eliana's trying to figure out how to do a split. And you can tell she's got one of her goals written down, and she allocates time towards it. Isaiah wants to be, a Fortnite champion and a golf guy. He writes those things down, and you see him allocating time to that. Do I agree with it? But I like the fact that they're executing on that. And I think that was huge. For me, when I was 25, 26, I didn't get any of that.
And there's all sorts of research that shows the benefits of writing down your goals.
Irrefutable. You're not going to argue with it.
Can't argue it.
Yeah, you're not going to argue with it.
And all it takes is a dedicated 10 minutes out of your day.
Yep.
Sit your butt down, grab a pen that you like, and write it. Here's the thing. You don't have to get it perfect. You'll never get it perfect.
Well, mine doesn't have to look like yours.
The best goal setters in the world don't have it perfect. All they are is a little less awful than the day before.
That's right.
You're a little less worse than you were the day before.
And one of the things that I wanted to encourage everybody while we're out here, what we were sharing this last time was, if you'll do it without somebody else that looks up to you, you're going to be forced to figure this thing out because they're looking up to you. And so one of the best ways for you to learn, right, a skill is to challenge somebody else to do it with you who looks up to you. And that's my kids. I don't want to fail my kids. Nobody wants to fail their kids. And if you do, then, that's a talking point when you go eat dinner. If you're not eating dinner with your family around the table or around Chick-fil-A without your phones,
try it.
Try it. Dang. All right. What else?
So here's my 3 takeaways, Teddy. Write it down.
Yep.
Whatever. Write it down. Write it on a sticky. Write it in your new notebook. Write it on your hand with a pen.
And then take a picture of
it. Write it down. And if you write it on the whiteboard, and you need to erase the whiteboard, take a picture of it.
You'd be proud of me, Brandon, by the way, while you get to your 2 and 3. So when I came up with the name, right, I did a little Instagram post, and I was like, profits over parrots. Come on, people. Let's not be parroting stuff. And as soon as I got that thought, I thought, wow, that would be a great title for our podcast.
Yeah. So
I went home, and guess what I did?
What did you do?
I wrote it on a whiteboard. And I was like, Brandon would be so proud,
dude.
But I took a picture and I sent it to you, and I was like, because if I don't write my thoughts down, especially, the next new thought that comes in replaces that one. And then I have to sit there and go, man, what was that? So I hate that feeling, So write stuff down.
Dude, that's lost opportunity.
That's right.
Lost opportunity.
Yep.
Number 2,
Share it.
Share it with your family, friends, and community.
Yeah, integration. Absolutely.
Blast it. Put it out there.
Yep.
And if you fail, screw it.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I didn't make it.
Yep.
I'm trying again tomorrow. Sun's gonna come up. I'm gonna give it another shot. I'm gonna get back on the horse. I'm gonna try it again.
Yep.
And number 3, you have to give an honest attempt.
Yep.
You can't.
What's that look like, Brandon?
You can't half-ass it. Here's what you can't do. You can't do it one day and then forget the second day, and then on the third day, remember to do it and decide, forget yesterday. It's okay. You didn't really try.
Gotcha.
That's the old college try,
Gotcha.
right? In the Army, your ass would be low crawling. Oh, you guys don't want to bear crawl?
You'd be bear crawling into a dumpster,
You
right?
don't want to bear crawl? Why don't you go ahead and low crawl? Give it the real try.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, I hope you guys are encouraged by that. And yeah, look out for the upcoming podcast.
See you guys.